Hey guys, I'm Lewis. I'm 20 years old, and I hate it when people call me a germaphobe. But I guess it's kinda true. But then again, maybe it's not. Because phobia implies fear, and if I'm so afraid, why did I risk getting sick for love? The answer is Cassie, of course. She was so beautiful. She was probably worth getting sick over anyway. Look, the truth is, I was trying to get... Hold on a sec. Before I go any further, take a second to like, subscribe, and share. Like I was saying, I was trying to get close to Cassie. She was about the only good thing going these days. Can I just take a second here, guys, and admit that I'm confused? And there's a lot of opinions out there, so maybe I'm not sure what to think. But I know how I feel. If I'm a germaphobe, it's because I've been plagued by allergies my whole life. Springtime was always a nightmare for me. Stopping to smell the roses sounded horrifying to me. It's so bad that sometimes I have to avoid birthday parties if there are going to be children present. A couple years back, some crumb cruncher got me so sick, I sounded like I was speaking out of my nose for a month. So when word hit on TV, I was the first one to stock up at the grocery stores. I invested in Germ-X and cleaning supplies, and I was hyper-vigilant about cleaning every nook and cranny of my place. But Cassie called me a germaphobe and said that I was part of some massive conspiracy by the cleaning product conglomerates. I asked her if she really believed all that, and she just sighed and said, "You never know." I guess that's what attracted me to her. Cassie was fearless and unafraid of new ideas or new experiences. I wasn't by nature, and I guess that's how I always figured I'd lose her. To some new experience or some new guy or... Cassie worked at a restaurant, so she had to get out to work, but I was able to isolate myself at home. I was a full-time student, and my university had everyone attend classes virtually. Cassie kept asking me to come see her at the restaurant like I used to, but I wasn't so sure. If I told her how scared I was of the symptoms, she'd tell me it wasn't humane to make people smell their own breath all day. She had a funny way of looking at it. She made me laugh. She was the yin to my yang, and even though I wanted to be with her, I was too afraid of getting sick. I started to think about how many people she interacted with at the restaurant all day. When she sneezed on Zoom and I slammed my laptop shut, I realized I was afraid of my own girlfriend. Cassie texted me and told me that my fears were clearly irrational, but I was still worried that Cassie might have something. I kept turning down her invitations. One day, she told me that she was thinking about giving up on us. That sometimes she just felt silly saying that we were together because, well, we weren't physically. We were nothing but apart these days. We didn't really reach a conclusion in that conversation, so before she hung up, she invited me to a pool party at her friend's house. She said the party was going to be fire and wanted me to come with her. I said I'd think about it, but she barely texted me after that. I knew if I didn't go to that party, that would be the end of things. I didn't know what to do, so I turned my attention to my coursework. I had this big science project hanging over my head. The assignment was to innovate an existing industry using scientific data. The instructions said that I should think about what I felt was missing in the world and how science could improve it. When I thought about the world, all I could think about was germs. There were just so many, and they're invisible. Together, they were like one big supervillain that had the world in its clutches. I guess I thought I needed to do something dramatic, heroic. That's it, I thought. I was going to make the ultimate anti-germ suit. And I was going to design it to look gnarly radical like some sci-fi astronaut or futuristic superhero. With the power of the anti-germ suit, I would be unstoppable. I did my research. Germs can live on materials like metal for almost 5 days, but with aluminum, it can only live a few hours. So I designed a full-body aluminum suit that covered my whole body except for the eyes, where I placed a plastic shield. I got a little carried away with the superhero design. I glued a sanitizer spray to the underside of my wrist so I could super sanitize, like Spider-Man. I designed a suit for Cassie, too. I tried to get her to wear the suit at work, but she didn't want to. She said it made her look like a lunatic. She told me that I needed to relax and told me that I should come to the pool party. I knew how much trouble Cassie could be in with all the germs, and I knew I had to do something. There had to be a solution. How was I supposed to relax when there were so many germs out there? I thought that if I could find all the facts out there, I could convince Cassie that the suit was the way to go. When I showed up to her house, her mom said that she had already left for the party with some guy named Chet. The news kind of floored me. I sat in my car for nearly an hour worrying about it. I even looked up her social media to see if she was friends with him online, and I saw tons of pictures of her at the pool party. Sure enough, this Chet fellow was being tagged all over Tarnation. I almost gave up. But a lot of people were wearing masks, and I thought maybe they'd be impressed by my suit. But when I showed up, everybody was laughing at me. I found Cassie, but she was so embarrassed that she pretended not to even know me. When I caught her alone, Cassie said that I looked like a giant Christmas ornament, and she didn't even want to be seen with me. Well, I guess I got defensive because I called her ignorant to the dangers of germs. And then she asked me to leave and stormed off to hang out with that Chet guy. So much for being her hero, I thought. Cassie was the only reason I had come to the party to begin with. Heck, she was the only reason I even made the suit in the first place. I wanted to save her and save myself. I wanted to save our relationship. I spent hours and hours working on a solution, and I didn't want to see it go to waste, so I determined to stay and enjoy the party. The more determined I got, the more I became a laughingstock. The glove hands on the suit made it impossible to hold a drink. I kept setting off the sanitizer spray on accident. I caught a look at myself in the mirror, and I had to admit, I looked pretty goofy. I was starting to feel like a fool. I wandered into some room to be alone. But then some little kid found me and asked me if I was a space alien. But you know, I found it easier to talk to that little kid. I explained how I was wearing the suit because I was afraid of germs. The kid didn't understand why I was so afraid. I tried to explain this saying to him. I said, an ounce of prevention was worth a pound of cure. Do you know what that little dude said? He said it looked like I was wearing a pound of protection, not an ounce. And then he handed me one of his masks and said that this was an ounce of protection. Boy, kids are so smart. Seeing myself through his eyes showed me how I was really overreacting. The next day, I showed up to Cassie's restaurant like I used to. Only this time, I left the suit at home and opted for a simple face mask instead. The look on Cassie's face when she saw me was pure relief. We made plans for a date, and she decided to wear a mask too. It's good to be safe out there, but it's also possible to take things a little bit too far. Like most things in life, balance is the key. Have you ever taken things too far? Tell us about it in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. And remember, when you share our stories, you're sharing wisdom.